Have you had time to process through the internet emotions and try and get down to the nitty-gritty of how you feel about this team, whether it's the same, better, worse after the loss to Michigan?
I think
Wow.
It's a long
I think probably
pause.
I think probably about the same.
Okay.
I had chalked. I think preseason I had Nebraska beating Michigan. Like that was part of my road to 8-4 for Nebraska, with a ninth win coming in a bowl game.
Mm.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't think I left that feeling completely different. I mean, I kind of assumed that Nebraska was going to struggle a little bit to run the ball against Michigan's defense. I mean, probably the biggest concern that I have coming out that maybe I didn't have going in was the tackle stuff and the pressure that they gave up. I mean, that's a concern. I thought Dylan played well. I mean, I think that was one question I had was, okay, you know, he's played relatively well through 3 games. What's this going to look like against a Michigan type defense? I thought he played well, and defensively, I mean, I don't know that it's. I tend to agree with Matt Rhule that I don't see huge overhauls that need to be done there. Like it's just assignment stuff. It's guys just getting the guy on the ground when they have the opportunity to do that. And I don't know. I mean, I think defensively, I'm still kind of in the like, let's wait and see how this is going to play out, because that was a little bit of a different approach that they were having to deal with from Michigan's offense than they'd seen to that point. So I'm still in wait and see mode with the defense, especially the run defense.
Hey, if you're Nebraska, how close would you be to just saying, let the chips ride and play Pritchett?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably there, aren't you?
I am.
I
I don't
think,
know. I don't know if anybody else is. I am.
yeah. I mean, you're kind of doing like a cost benefit thing at this point, where it's like, you know, how much of the pre-snap stuff are you willing to accept, and a missed assignment here or there if the rest of the picture looks okay. And they've got to decide that, I think. I don't know. I mean, is there a conversation about, you know, are Gatula and Pritchett out there together? Because Matt Rhule has said he's been willing to flip the tackles if need be. I mean, is that a conversation to you guys or no?
I don't know. I if it were me, I'd just play him. You know what I mean? And I think,
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, I thought, to answer your question, Bruntz, before the season, I said by the end of the year, the starting tackles are Pritchett and Gatula.
Yeah.
I thought those were your 2 best guys. So, my answer simply would be yes. I think that's where you have to go.
Yeah. I mean, if you're truly trying to get your best 5 out there, I think that's probably the direction you go. And I mean, even in August, I mean, Matt Rhule said, you know, something they're willing to do if that's what they have to do. And I think you're maybe at that point right now. So I would hope that's at least being entertained. But I think, you know, I think Pritchett needs to be out there. I mean, I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I, you know, I think at times and in other positions, you're willing to accept a mistake here or there. I mean, obviously left tackle is a completely different situation than some positions, but I think you're probably at that point now where you just got to get your best 5 out there. And at least to my very amateur eye, he would be in that group.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's interesting because I don't know that we necessarily think about it in these terms, but there's a handful of spots on the field where if you're not, like, if you don't do your job right, it's really, really obvious. I think a
Mm-hmm.
quarterback, I think of corner. Like, if you mess up at corner, like,
yeah.
it's ugly in a hurry. And I do think of left tackle. Like, and I think offensive line's a little bit more complicated because sometimes there's different schemes, different assignments that we don't necessarily understand. But if I had to give you 3 spots where I was like, yeah, it's super obvious when a guy's not doing his job
Yeah.
correctly, I would include tackle in one of those spots. And especially in contrast to the other two that I gave you, where I think Nebraska's getting a really high level play out of corner and quarterback.
Yeah.
Like that's the one that sticks out a ton, right?
Well, and I guess in my mind too, it's like, well, if you just were getting schemed up on the pressure, that's a different conversation. If it's just a guy dipping and getting around the corner, or a guy just bull rushing a tackle straight back into the quarterback's lap, that's different. And I think you can do things with the scheming. I think it's a little bit more challenging with the other stuff where you're just getting beat one-on-one that way. So I think that's got to probably, factor into the conversation too, is that, a lot of those pressures, it felt like it was just guys winning one-on-ones. And that's a concern, because that really is something that, future opponents can kind of tee off on there.
Bruntz, you and I had this conversation in the off season and again before the season started, so I think you kind of know how I feel. And it's not a sensitive subject, but it's one in which I'm passionate about, just because I know both guys. Are you a little taken aback at the wishy-washiness we've had with transitioning to Coach Butler and post Tony White? Remember, it was, well, we needed an upgrade. We were a little too standard. There was that narrative in the offseason that, was he really that good of a coordinator? And now it's like you give up a couple of explosive plays, and it's like, oh, we want Tony White back. And it's like, number one, make up your mind. But number two, like, Coach Butler's going to be pretty good, and I think we're still just 4 games into this deal. Like, where are your people, the the boards, your sphere of influence? Where are they at on the whole DC thing?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a lot of the discussion. I feel like, at least on our board, has been less about the Butler White thing, like, and it's, I don't know about you, but it felt like, and it felt like at times in that Michigan game, where you're kind of almost trying to do too much, like with some of the stunt stuff they were doing and things like that. That it felt like it was like, okay, if you just lined up and played, and didn't do some of the games up front. I know that's part of what he wants to do, and the aggressiveness and things like that. You kind of wonder, is that better for a defense that's still pretty young in some spots? I don't know. But yeah, I think a lot of the conversation, at least that I've been kind of paying attention to, or at least has been thrown in my face, has been more of the tackle stuff, the questions about running back and what the depth chart, or who your number 2 is actually going to be there. I haven't seen a ton of the Tony White stuff. So I don't know, maybe I'm looking in the wrong places, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's, I think, Tony White's a fine coordinator. I think there were also games where, like UCLA last year, where, you got to kind of remember those games as well, where, Nebraska struggled in very specific ways to make plays, kind of similar to the way they did at times against Michigan.
How do you weigh kind of the emotional toll the big plays take versus the practicality of Michigan sustained one drive for the entire day and didn't score a touchdown on it?
You kind of got to take both of them, I think. For the most part, Nebraska was pretty solid and pretty steady on defense. And then, that's the big plays. Are we calling them busts? Like, were they busts in your guys' mind?
I don't think busts in terms of misassignments. I think it was an execution issue.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think they got schemed up on the quarterback run and weren't able to execute at the defensive line, kind of like Coach Rhule talked about. Like, they got put into an awkward spot, and so a defensive lineman was just going to have to make a play, and they didn't. The other two, I just thought it was fit a little faster, get a guy to the ground. Like, I didn't think it was the defense was aligned improperly or they missed their spot or whatever. I think it was just execution.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes you feel better or worse, but that's
Just the subtle K
No,
was kind of funny. He said K.
No, but I mean, it's like, it's 3 plays though, where like, something very specific, like, didn't happen on that play. I mean, I guess you don't accept that, but like, the scary thing is it's a little bit like that kind of a narrative is very similar to like what Nebraska's done against Iowa for the last decade, right? Where it's like you largely have them bottled up, and then there's like 3 plays that are chunk plays that kind of swing the game a little bit. I mean, I think that's the concern, but
sure.
I mean, I think for the most part, I was okay with the way Nebraska played defensively. You just got to find a way to, in those 3 situations, to either recognize what's going on, or somebody just got to make a play. I mean, that 75-yarder. I mean, you had multiple chances to get that play ended, and you didn't. So, I mean, maybe you learn from that a little bit, but you got to find a way to just get in there and actually just get the guy on the ground. I mean, sometimes it's that simple. So I don't know. I mean, I think that's why I'm still, going back to 10 minutes ago, a little bit in wait and see mode on things. Cause I mean, I think I saw enough good against Michigan to feel okay going forward, but just, you gotta find a way to, not give up the chunk plays on the ground.
You know what's interesting is Ravi and I were talking about this because we've obviously talked to Parker Fleming, and he does the stats of war, and this is on the heels of Biff talking about dominance, and I think the feel is that Michigan dominated, and we kept saying take some time, go back and watch. I'm sure you're not that surprised when you go back and look at the whole did we get beat that bad, which measures net success rate, right? Winning on first down, winning on second down, what happens on third down. And with each play that's 2nd and 6 and 3rd and 3, those are net plays. And Nebraska was close to the tops in terms of winning those downs. If you're doing that, you're not getting dominated. You think that's how coaches have to look at this versus the fandom of the big plays and we got beat and we're disappointed? You think coaches go down to the micro like this and say, hey, listen, for the most part, it's probably not as good as we think, and it's also not as bad as we think?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope they react differently than fans do. Right?
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the dominant stuff, I mean, I mean, in the lack of a better phrase, in the fog of war, I mean, there's probably some bravado there from Biff.
But again, I can say that and recognize they did have 40 solo tackles, though. That's pretty good. I mean, did they dominate? I don't know. They seemed pretty in control up front on both sides to me. But I don't know. I mean, I think if you're a coach and you're going into a bye week, you probably have to look at everything and dig in and see what was really there and what you feel okay about and what you don't. I mean, I was glad he picked 45. I mean, maybe it was 40 or 48 or whatever. He said, listen, I probably had 45 plays that we parsed through, right? Like, it wasn't just X amount of plays. I think that's the way you got to look at it, because if you're taking the good and you're taking the bad, I mean, you have to look at some of the success rates too, not just what you did wrong.
I appreciate I appreciate the Matt Rhule very, very quickly and very publicly kind of tamp down on the we're just 4 plays away thing. Because, like, yeah, I mean, there were 4 to 6 big plays that probably make the difference in that game, but it's not just that simple,
Yeah.
And I think for a team that is still young in spots and still is not a complete team by any means, that's the message you have to get across. Is like, look, there's still a lot of work here left to do, and I think as far away as you can stay from that camp, that's like, we're close, we're the best, 1 score loss team in the country, whatever. Like, you want to put that as far away from your team as you can. And I at least appreciated that publicly that they were taking a pretty broad look at the way that game played out.
How are you spending your bye week, Bruntz?
Let's see. Got some stuff to do around the house. I've been putting off. Ryder Cup this weekend.
Is that one for you? Is Ryder Cup? So it's ahead of like Oregon, Penn State, or Bama, Georgia, or.
Well, I'll have the quad box on. You guys aren't going to be laser focused on that UCLA Northwestern game. That's 2 future Nebraska opponents playing this weekend, guys.
No more. No. Yeah, listen. No more than SC or Illinois or K-State hosting UCF. I don't know. It's a lot. There's a lot of tell me games.
How
about Indiana and Iowa City?
I'll probably catch that UCLA Northwestern.
Indiana's finally going to get a game, right?
Yeah,
according to Sigs.
He said certainly be better than last week. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Maybe we don't know.
That had to be so. That answer that's oozing something was personal in that one, right? I mean,
felt like it. It's all, isn't it always with him though? Like, isn't even like everything just kind of feels like it's personal with him, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And boy, he will definitely slit your throat. There's no question about that.
It was nice of him to stop scoring when they hit 63. But no, I think what else is going on this weekend? There was another game. Oh, what about USC and the Big Ten schedule? They're like getting the tour of like all of the backwater places in the Big Ten. You go to West Lafayette 2 weeks ago. You got to turn around and go to Illinois this weekend. Like that's like a welcome to the Big Ten schedule if I ever saw one.
Look, Champaign, the House of Horrors. Don't kid yourself. Memorial Stadium.
Yeah. I'm a big Champaign guy.
Grange Grove.
These people are thumbing their nose up at Illinois like they're going to be left for dead. I don't know, man. There's some real live dogs this weekend. I think Illinois is one of them.
Yeah, but no, UCLA Northwestern will be on the quad box, some Ryder Cup, Oregon, Penn State. I might take a look at Ohio State, Washington, maybe.
Yeah, I'm interested.
And then for you late night sickos, Colorado and BYU kicking off.
Oh, Ravi's all in on that.
At 9:15.
Yeah,
our time.
He is continuing his 180 on Coach Deion Sanders. So he is now.
I don't know if it's a 180. I'm still BYU there though.
Well,
I love my guy, Coach Sataki.
Bruntz, you can't do it all. Even though Bethpage's black, you get East Coast time, so this may not be an issue. But how are you going to decide who to put on that fourth corner of the quad box between Rutgers and Minnesota and Cincinnati and Kansas? I mean, what the dilemmas?
Yeah, well, I appreciate a good grudge match, and you've got the Calicmanis Bowl there between Minnesota and Rutgers. Is it Kirk Soraka? Is their OC?
Yes. Changing addresses.
Yeah, I'd probably go Big Ten.
I'm gonna be honest. That one's
over Sorsby versus Daniels.
That one's probably getting the BTN and 60 treatment on Monday.
Really?
I'm gonna be honest with you.
All right, so you're just out on South Alabama, North Texas.
I tell you what, though, that BYU Colorado is gonna have to be quad box because I got to get the Shanghai Open this weekend.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Oh, don't encourage him.
We got Rublev playing.
Don't we?
Kaboli.
We're not encouraging.
Demonor.
Is there any F1 this weekend? Any of that going on?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No idea. I limit my new sports.
He's minus 245. What are you watching?
I'm watching tennis.
He's minus 245.
Kaboli's a live dog.
Oh, yeah. Maybe 1.5 sets, maybe.
You know Kaboli's good. Come on.
Sorry for the nerd talk, Bruntz. I apologize.
Big Flavio guy.
All right, Bruntz. Yeah. He's the guy with the pretty hair that used to do the butter commercials.
Yeah, I know.
Different guy.
Flavio.
Different guy.
Okay.
Different European.
My bad.
That's Bruntz. We appreciate the time as always. Enjoy your bye week.
Enjoy your bye.